Yes, it's true that many countries do not have birthright citizenship. But the United States of America has the 14th Amendment. This is part of our Constitution. And if the Republicans don't like the 14th Amendment, then they have to create a new amendment to the Constitution. You can't change that in
Oh,
any
but it
other
looks
way.
like it's been changed because what is going on? Hey, beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. Thank you for stopping by, supporting your girl on this channel. So, credit goes to the creators in these videos. And, guys, into this video.
I'm a benefactor of birthright citizenship. My mother is an immigrant. She was not a United States citizen when she had me. She was a permanent resident. However, I am a benefactor of birthright citizenship. And people can say that, oh, he's just talking about undocumented people. And it's like, until when? Until what? Until when I say the wrong thing or somebody does the wrong thing, and then it's like, okay, yeah, it's only people who have one parent that was born here, and then it's people who have to have both parents that was born here. Paving the way to get rid of birthright citizenship is wrong, and it will pave the way for other atrocities that will continue to happen to many people unfairly and unjustly. And I will continue to speak out on it. And you can't tell me that it's politics and that I should stay out of politics because I talk about loneliness. This is my day-to-day life. I had a woman sitting in front of me yesterday who had come here legally with the proper documentation, but they are still taking those people as well. And she sat in front of me and she was crying. And the thing that she kept saying to me was, if I have to go back, then just send me back to my country then. The fear that she has, which she shouldn't have to be afraid to be sent back anywhere. She's here under legal pretenses and working through the process correctly. But they don't care. This is about racism. Why do you think they're stopping brown bodies on the street? That is about racism. I also work with white people who are here from European countries who don't have to have that same level of fear that they can get randomly stopped and randomly searched and randomly harassed because they're white. And so we have to acknowledge the whole. I'm sorry, we have to acknowledge the whole. And if you support it, then you support racist ideologies and racist policies. And I think you should take a long, hard look at yourself. So I'll continue to speak on something that means a lot to me and that matters and that impacts me personally. But also, I would still care even if it didn't impact me personally. Something doesn't have to happen to me for me to care about the horrific, cruel ways in which it is being executed. Sending love to y'all today and hoping that we can still regain our hope and our love for those that we come in.
The original Constitution from 1787 did not specify who is a U.S. citizen. The Constitution did give power to Congress to decide naturalization, but it was silent on birthright citizenship. At the time of our founding, citizenship was handled at the state level because of slavery. And then in 1857, the famous Dred Scott decision, the Supreme Court infamously ruled that no black person, free or slave, is a U.S. citizen, regardless if they're born in the United States or not. And then we got the 13th Amendment, abolishing slavery, and the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which was written to overturn that Dred Scott decision. All persons born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. The jurisdiction thereof was designed specifically for children of diplomats, children of people of invading enemy armies, and Native Americans who had their own tribal laws. And then in 1898, the Supreme Court established that U.S. citizenship applies to every person born within the United States of America. The famous case is Wan Kim Ark, a Chinese national, gave birth in the United States, physically gave birth to a baby, took that baby home. That child tried to return as a U.S. citizen. The government stopped that child, but the Supreme Court said that child is a U.S. citizen because that child was physically born in the U.S., despite whether his parents were U.S. citizens themselves or not. And in 1924, Congress granted U.S. citizenship to every Native American born in the U.S. And for the last 200 years, the federal government and every state has recognized every person born in the United States of America to be a U.S. citizen, to get a passport, Social Security, birth certificate, federal benefits, until Donald Trump showed up in 2025 when he decided all by himself that only people born in the United States to U.S. citizens or residents are U.S. citizens. Everybody else isn't.
It's so hard to watch families being separated, people being kidnapped, and they're going after schools and churches and graduations and elementary schools. And the Home Depots and places where good human beings are working, not the criminals like they said. They're just trying to hit their 3,000 quota. And it's disgusting what is happening. It's not okay to ever have families separated, mothers and children separated. And I hope to God we don't ever go to war and Mexico closes their borders to us and says, oh no, we don't want your people. Like, it's sad. It's pathetic. It's disgusting. It's unhumane. And it's unconstitutional what Trump is doing. He is insane. He is trying to be a dictator, and we are not a dictatorship. He's already said he wanted to do 3 terms. We only have 2 terms, so we don't become a dictatorship or a communist country or have crazy presidents like other countries do that stay in there for 20 years, even though the people don't want them. So regardless, the people are going to stand up against this guy one day, but this is getting out of control and we need to open our eyes, educate yourself, and realize, what if this was your family? What if this was your grandkids, nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters, friends? Like, you wouldn't be okay with it then. Like the Norway guy that's going viral, that's been held in detention center for a month and is being deported. Everybody's like, oh, this shouldn't happen to white people. Well, wake up. It's happening to all colors. Trump ain't giving a crap. If you're an immigrant and you're here illegal, he's sending you back no matter what color you are. And when it comes to the birthright citizenship, let's go over that really quick. So the birthright citizenship is not just for the brown people. It also goes with the white people. And if you want to take it all the way, World War II, when that was happening and everybody was escaping Germany and Nazi and Hitler and all the crazy stuff going on there, they migrated to the U.S. My grandparents did. And my mom was born a natural born citizen. So in 30 days, if this goes into effect, they could technically take her status away, make her illegal, and that would make all of us children illegal. And we're white. Like, it's going to happen to white people too. There's no stipulation in there that it's just brown people like Trump is trying to make it seem. And it's pretty funny that we're all attacking, trying to say they're illegals and they're criminals. And that's not who he's going after. But we do have a convicted felon as president married to an immigrant. Like, come on, guys. Just because she's white, she doesn't count? No, that's not how it works. We need to get it together. We need to figure it out, educate each other, and overturn him, because he's not going to last very much longer. He will be overturned. We, the people of the United States of America, are fed up, and we will do something about it. So hopefully everybody wakes up, and there's a little info for you on the birthright. It will affect white people too. I hope everybody has a great day. I love you all. And
what is the difference between birthright citizenship and someone who's American because they were born in the U.S.? Quickly. None at all. There is no difference. If you were born in the U.S., if your entire family was born in the U.S., you can now still get deported. And according to your besties over at Fox News, by the end of July. Are you happy? Do you believe us now when we told you it wasn't about the brown people? It wasn't about the illegals and it wasn't about the crime? Do you believe us now? That was the only way to get in. That it was for your white safety and their brown illegality. But they just needed to get the foot in through the door. And we told you. And you didn't.
The Supreme Court just came out with a ruling about birthright citizenship, and it is wild. Trump tried to end birthright citizenship by executive order, and every court in the country said you can't do that. That's illegal. Trump tried to end birthright citizenship by executive order, and every single court came out and said, absolutely not, this is unconstitutional. But today, the Supreme Court basically says, no, you can't protect everyone from this illegal order, only people who specifically sue. So what does this actually mean? It's not about what state you lived in. It's whether you or an organization sued on your behalf. If you are a pregnant woman who filed a lawsuit, your baby is protected. If you are a member of an organization that filed a lawsuit, you're protected. Everyone else? So basically, the Supreme Court has created 2 zones. One zone where the Constitution applies if you sue, and one where it doesn't, unless you sue. Does this make any sense? Does this give you a headache? Do you think your constitutional rights should depend on whether you can afford a lawyer to file a lawsuit?
I'm going to break down who it affects, when it starts, and what it all means. Right now, if you're born in the United States, you're automatically a United States citizen, and that is based on the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. But this new executive order is trying to reinterpret that. Trump has declared in this executive order that if you're born in the United States 30 days after the date of this executive order, you won't be a U.S. citizen if your mother was undocumented at the time of your birth and your father was not a United States citizen or a lawful permanent resident. You also won't be a U.S. citizen 30 days from the date of this order if your mother is in the United States legally, but temporarily, like on a student visa, a work visa, or a tourist visa. And your father is not a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident. So if you're born before the effective date of this order, you're a United States citizen, and this is not a retroactive executive order. Also, if at least one parent is a United States citizen or a lawful permanent resident, then their child is a United States citizen. Children of green card holders or lawful permanent residents are also considered to be U.S. citizens at the time of birth per this executive order. Now, again, the order applies to babies born 30 days from the date of this order and beyond. And the order has directed government agencies to give their guidance on how it's going to be enforced within 30 days from now. Now, can the president actually do this? Many legal experts say absolutely not. And that's because of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. And that's because the 14th Amendment says that all persons born in the United States and who are subject to the jurisdiction thereof are U.S. citizens at birth. And courts have historically interpreted this very broadly. And the Supreme Court has ruled that being born in the United States makes you a citizen irrespective of your parents' immigration status. The executive order also clearly violates U.S. law, specifically Title 8 of the United States Code, Section 1401, which says that people born in the U.S. are U.S. citizens. So what's likely to happen is that lawsuits will probably be immediately filed to challenge this executive order, and courts may block it from even going into effect. And if it's challenged all the way, it could go all the way to the Supreme Court, which will ultimately decide its fate. I do think this order is very likely going to be blocked, even at the Supreme Court level, but it's definitely opened up a massive debate.
On day one of Donald Trump's presidency, he issued an executive order. If you are born in the United States and one of your parents is not at least a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, you're not a U.S. citizen. 22 states filed a lawsuit against Donald Trump saying this is illegal. A federal judge agreed and issued a nationwide injunction saying this executive order can't go into effect. And Trump appealed, not whether his ban on birthright citizenship is legal or not. He appealed that a federal judge can't make this nationwide injunction while they're litigating this case out. And the Supreme Court decided with Donald Trump. So they haven't ended birthright citizenship. They didn't make a decision on that. What they have said is, if you're a child born in the United States in one of these 22 states that brought a lawsuit, that injunction continues. You will be considered a U.S. citizen. You will get your benefits as a U.S. citizen, whether it's your birth certificate, your social security number, Medicaid, food stamps, whatever you're entitled to. But if you're a child born in the United States, in any of these other 28 states that did not bring a lawsuit, the Republican states, in 30 days from now, you will not get any benefits. You will not get your birth certificate, presumably, nor a social security number, nor Medicaid, nor food stamps. You won't be considered a U.S. citizen, perhaps even deportable. Baby deportable, imagine. The Supreme Court gave 30 days. So that means nothing happens over the next 30 days. So if you happen to be lucky to be born by July 27th, 2025, you're a U.S. citizen. You don't have to worry about anything. But after July 27th, you have to rely on new litigation that's expected. And they're going to make it a class action and make an injunction for each of those particular litigants, every person who's part of this class action, that Trump's ban on birthright citizenship is illegal until a final decision is made by the Supreme Court of the United States. So now, if you're an undocumented immigrant, even if you're legal on a student visa, and you give birth to a U.S. citizen in one of the non-28 states that joined the original lawsuit, you have to hope that there is a class action lawsuit. You have to know about that class action lawsuit. You have to be smart enough to join that class action lawsuit in order for your child to be considered a U.S. citizen until the U.S. Supreme Court makes a decision on Trump's birthright
is not
citizenship.
over. It's being left up to the states, basically. And the ruling that the Supreme Court had is going to lead to much worse outcomes. But I want to explain it in personal terms because people just keep reiterating the legal terms and it's getting muddled. The courts are not allowed to block executive orders across the nation, which means if you disagree, you have to fight it individually. And if you're not personally involved in the suit and you are elsewhere, you have to follow the executive order. A good example of this is if Trump decides to drop an executive order that limits people's ability to vote, or takes your guns away, or limits the ability to have a right to marriage. You have to follow that executive order unless you are involved in a suit that you file or get involved in with a bunch of other people to file. That decision is on executive orders as a whole, which is very bad, but specifically the birthright citizenship has been put on stay for 30 days, meaning it will not be enacted until 30 days from now. So everyone who will be affected by this has 30 days to go to court or go to their district and have the state fight for them. As of recording this video, the Supreme Court has not voted on whether the executive order regarding birthright citizenship is unconstitutional or not. So the ruling was on executive orders as a whole. The birthright citizenship one has not been voted on whether it's unconstitutional or not, and there's no timeline for when or if they decide that it is or not. So as of right now, even though this ruling was on executive orders as a whole, the main important point that people are focusing on is birthright citizenship. And as of right now, it will go into effect in 30 days. And if you are in a state that is not going to try and block it, you are in trouble. This is a step towards authoritarianism. It is stripping our rights away little by little. We may not have ended birthright citizenship today, but it is arguably on its way. This is what Trump does in his business. Leave it up to the courts. Let's fight it in the courts. And while you're fighting, I'm going to keep moving this way. We can, and he just wants to keep these in litigation. Keep fighting them. That's fine. You guys can stay. But everyone else who's not involved in the suits or can't afford to be in these lawsuits, you have to follow. You have to follow the executive orders. Once there's less of you and we've dwindled this group down to a smaller demographic, then we'll just make something else. We'll make a new rule, a new executive order, a new Supreme Court ruling that then gets the rest of you out. That's how this works. That's the stripping little by little.